Hello, my name is India, and I moved. This video is not about that. This video, instead, is about, me participating in a readathon that is a little strange for me. This is my March TBR. In March, there's a Taylor Swift readathon happening called Tis the Damn Readathon. And I'm gonna say this now, and I'm going to not keep repeating myself about this, but I'm mostly ambivalent when it comes to Taylor Swift. I'm not a big fan, but I also don't despise her in any way, shape, or form. I just thought that the conceptualization and the readathon as an idea was so fun and so cool, so I'm participating. So let's get into it. I'm going to share the books I'm going to be reading, and then I'll be talking about a couple other books that I'm planning on reading in the month of March, which I'm very excited about. So let's just get into that. So we have 5 books for me to read in order to complete a blackout of the bingo house, and I'm going to talk about those. And then I have 5 or 6 more books that I would need to read in order to complete every single reading challenge. So before we get into that, starting out with the 5 books, the most reasonable of my TBR. First up, we have In the Dream House by Carmen Maria Machado. This is Carmen Maria Machado's experimental memoir about her experience living in an abusive queer relationship, and this takes on kind of different genres and tries to approach the content of the memoir through all these different structural and kind of formal methods. This counts for reading a memoir, reading a book that's been highly recommended. I've seen so many videos of people recommending this or having this on their top books of 2020, and a 5-star prediction. I loved Her Body and Other Parties. I love like experimental, almost like short form vignette style compilation books, and I have no doubt that this will be a new favorite. So this helps check off the Taylor Swift self-titled album, Reputation and Lover. Next, a book I'm really excited to read, and I kind of can't believe that I'm going to be reading this. It's definitely the first book I'm going to start in March because I'm afraid that if I don't, I just won't read it. And that is House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski. Yes. This is weird, creepy haunted house thriller. This is the March read for Books and Lala's Literally Dead book club, which I also, I knew I wanted to read this, and then I saw that she was going to be reading it for her book club, and I was like, you know what? This is the time. Now is the time. So I'm reading it for that reason, but also this checks off the Fearless and Evermore challenges, specifically read a book you're intimidated by. I'm very excited but intimidated. I'm scared I'm not gonna get it, which is okay, but I am. And read a book that's been on your TBR the longest, that you've had the longest. I haven't had this the longest, but this has been on my TBR, I think, since I was in junior high. So it may not technically be the longest, but we're rolling with it. Next, the readathon group read is Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. I have read this already. I think I read it in 2018 and I really enjoyed it. And my love for it has kind of grown since reading it, because I was in a women in film class and we watched the Alfred Hitchcock adaptation of Rebecca. This only checks off one one album, and that is Speak Now, because it has an adaptation. It has at least two, the Alfred Hitchcock and the newer one with Lily James. This is also not an album question, but the blank space challenges are to read a book Taylor Swift has referenced, and a book with a main character or character whose name comes up in a Swift song, in a Taylor Swift song, and Rebecca works for both of those. I forgot to mention, this is a thriller and works for the No Body, No Crime thriller mystery challenge. I've tried to organize this, but I know it's going to be a mess. So please bear with me. Next, we have Lovers at the Chameleon Club, 1932 by Francine Prose. This is about, it didn't tell you what Rebecca's about.
Rebecca's about a woman who marries this rich man, and this rich man used to be married to a lady named Rebecca who no longer is alive. And that's a mystery.
This is about the Chameleon Club, which is this club in Paris where queer people can meet and feel a little bit freer, express themselves a little bit more truly than they might be able to in more normative social spaces. This counts for Red and 1989 because it meets a book you've previously DNF'd challenge and a book with a number in the title challenge. I tried to read this, I got that far, like 40 pages through, and I wasn't really loving the structure of it. It's kind of structured with letters and newspaper articles, and I just was a little bit confused and put it down. This is a great chance for me to return and see what happens. And also a number is in the title. A date is in the title. I feel like I get bonus points for that. Anyway, the last book I have to talk about is The Silence of the Girls by Pat Barker. This is a retelling of the Iliad from the perspective of the women in the story, which are not really given a voice in the OG text. This checks off a challenge for folklore, which is to read a book that's a retelling or inspired by mythology. And this is awesome. Okay, so here's where we get to the proof that I've really done too much work. We're gonna go to hopefully a successful graphic where you can see each of the books, the albums they work for, and my success, hopefully. If I can read these 5 books in March, I will have attained a blackout. But because I can't just leave it at that, we are going to move to the rest of the challenges, the complete blackout of every challenge. So looking at this, which has the 5 books I'm going to read, and then every single challenge listed. This includes some challenges that don't have anything to do with a book. So let's just separate that out. So that's what that looks like. We've got the reading challenges, we've got the books I've already talked about, we've got the other challenges. And since those currently are not relevant for this TBR, we're just gonna let those go and highlight the challenges that are already met, so we can just get a look at that. Nice. Okay, here we are. Moving on, we have a book that I own but forgot in the move, so is not currently with me, so I'm trying to get a copy through my library, and that is White Sands Red Menace by Ellen Cleggs. This is a historical, middle grade YA about 2 girls whose fathers are scientists working in a kind of secret base in the US during the start of World War II. It's fun, and it helps me tick off 2 challenges, which is to read a YA book This is like on the younger end of YA, I would say. The main characters in the first book are like 12-ish, 10 to 12. And read a book in a trilogy / the third book in a series. So this is indeed a trilogy, and the only trilogy that I could choose from to read. So really hoping I can get this in from the library and move onward with my quest. Next, we have Bel Canto, which was a recent acquisition. This is a book that I don't know that much about, but have wanted to read for a while. It's one of those just like classics, modern classics. From what I can tell, this is about a dinner party at some South American vice president's home. It literally does not say on the back what South American country it is, which I think is kind of strange, and hope will be specified. Anyway, this party is happening, and the most famous soprano in opera is invited to perform. To read the back, because I'm a little curious about how I'll feel about this book. It is a perfect evening until a band of gun-wielding terrorists take the entire party hostage. But what begins as a panicked, life-threatening scenario slowly evolves into something quite different, a moment of great beauty as terrorists and hostages forge unexpected bonds and people from different continents become compatriots. So I'm really interested to see what I think about this. And I don't know. That book, Bel Canto by Anne Patchett, helps check off 3 prompts, which is the Our Song, read a book about music prompt. Bad Blood, read a book with a morally gray character. I have a feeling this will feature some morally gray characters, both in both sides of the scenario. And read a book that has a romance but is within another genre. From Googling, apparently there is a romance with this soprano and someone else. Next, we have The Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society by Mary Ann Schaefer and Annie Barrows. This is a historical fiction set during World War II on an island off of the UK, I think. And it's about this society that meets on this island while they're being occupied by Germany. I'm not completely sure what happens in this book. I haven't read it yet. But mostly this satisfies the challenge to read a book written by 2 authors, because there are 2 authors. Then we have Read a Book with red on the cover, and that is The Nickel Boys by Colson Whitehead. This is about a group of boys who are sent to a delinquent school and the awful things that happen there. So yes, it is red. Then we have a challenge to read a book with a cat on the cover. This is the only book that I own, both of the books that I have and otherwise, that has a cat on the cover, and that is We Have Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson. This is about 2 sisters who are kind of ostracized from their town because something happened where their entire family was like poisoned or killed in some other way, and they are the only 2 survivors, and there's a cat. So looking forward to getting to this. It's also fairly short, so should be good. Okay, so the last 2 challenges are to listen to an audiobook, which I don't currently know what I'm gonna do. I might listen to one of the books I've already mentioned on audiobook. I think I have the audiobook for Einstein's Dreams coming in March, which is a book that I read physically earlier this year and feel like I need to revisit. So in some way, I plan on meeting that challenge. If not, that's fine. But the other challenge is to surprise yourself with a book, pick it with your eyes closed / random number generator, etc. I don't know if this is cheating, but I think it's a surprise. So I have a subscription to the Feminist Book Club, which sends a book and various goodies every month pertaining to a theme. Okay, so the March theme is to read Caribbean. With the themes, members do get to vote among a list of books to see what will be chosen. But ultimately, I'm not the person picking it. I did vote, but I am not like, I don't know what it is. It's a surprise. It's a surprise. That's all I need to say. So the book that was chosen was Here Comes the Sun by Nicole Dennis Benn, which is set in Jamaica and seems to be about a variety of characters, specifically one woman and like following the sacrifices she's making, and has a bit of a queer sapphic romance, and is about the like tourist industry, specifically hotels and developers who are threatening people's homes by trying to like build these resorts where people live. So I'm really excited to read this. I said this last month, but I'm trying to be better about actually reading these books in the month that I get them so that I can fully participate and like take advantage of the book club. I've been successful this month, and so that's good. Those are all of the books for the readathon that I'm planning on reading, which is a lot, but I think it's doable. I think it's manageable. I like a good challenge. Oh, it's really ambitious, and we're not done yet. So next for the read for March is A Spy and the Struggle by Aya de Leon, which seems to be a thriller mystery about environmental racism and this woman who's like a spy going like on the inside to a company that's exploiting this neighborhood. I'm interested. Yeah, I'm excited to read that. Thanks for watching this very, very long video. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in another video soon.